Welcome back everyone, it's time to go balls deep into Jujutsu Kaisen. And from our last Sukuna video, I told you guys that we will be covering and explaining why Sukuna is the strongest shaman when he was a human, and why now, being a cursed spirit, he is called the King of Curses. We'll be bringing in real balls deep lore and history up in this one, so I really appreciate if you guys continue to show your support for our JJK content and destroy that like button so we know that you lot want more Jujutsu Kaisen on our channel. We plan to continue covering it weekly or so, but that really depends on you lot to bring awareness to the anime community on how epic JJK is. So guys, raise your hands and help us gather our anime balls deep curse energy. Okay, so right off the bat, let's start with what makes Sukuna the King of Curses and respected by other special grade curses like Jogo, fed by Jujutsu sorcerers, and even other top level curse users around the world. Beyond his menacing aura, slick wordplay, and overpowered curse technique, what about Sukuna makes him the king of evil entities plaguing the world of Jujutsu Kaisen? Well, not much lore is available for Sukuna within the Jujutsu Kaisen other than what is given in chapter 3, describing his clash with Jujutsu sorcerers 1000 years ago in the Golden Age. So of course you're wondering, what could we possibly talk about to expand upon this title? Well guys, this is balls deep, so buckle up and get ready. Ryomen Sukuna, otherwise known as the Two-Faced Spectre in Japanese mythology, is one of the most mysterious mythological deities described in the Nihon Shoki. The Nihon Shoki is a Japanese history book created during the Nara period of Japan and is actually also one of the oldest existing history books. That's pretty cool, right?
Yes.
Well, these chronicles is where the earliest information of Sukuna exists, and it's also the very book that JJ Akutami used for inspiration, which in fact is specifically seen in Sukuna's design from chapter 117. The Sukuna of Jujutsu Kaisen holds many similarities to the ancient statues created for the mythological Sukuna. So coming back to the Nihon Shoki, it is said that Sukuna was quick-witted and had super strength, which is just like our Sukuna in JJK. Not only that, it is also stated that he was the head of the Hida province during the reign of Emperor Nintoku until the year 377. Anyways, Sukuna of ancient Japan lost his reign when the emperor sent his greatest general to expel him from the lands. Sound familiar?
Yes.
After all, if Nihon Shoki was the inspiration for JJK characters, then of course him being a ruler is directly related to him being the King of Curses. The Ryomen Sukuna of ancient Japan was called the benefactor of the Hida province and was worshipped by many people. The Nihon Shoki described Sukuna as an evil being and an enemy to the emperor, but the people of Hida and Mino province worshipped him as a savior. In fact, the people regarded him as a kaiki, a patron of a temple or a founder. And according to the rumors on the Japanese wiki corpus, one of the temples that the mythological Sukuna founded is called Senkoji Temple, located in Kyoto City. And in my opinion, it would actually be interesting if Akutami used this lore for Jujutsu Kaisen, where we would later get a Kyoto backstory for Sukuna. But anyways, on top of all of this, it is also said that Sukuna introduced Buddhism to the Hida province. So basically, characters like Urame could be descendants of a clan of people from the Hida province, hence their loyalties to Sukuna. Not only that, the spirits Sukuna mentioned to Yuji that he had cut and scattered could easily be curses that lived under Sukuna's reign and were also from the Hida province. And once Sukuna went against the best sorcerers of the Golden Age, he might have used these cursed spirits as protectors or holders of his fingers, scattering them throughout Japan. But that's not to be confused with the finger bearers, as in the death painting arc from chapter 55 titled Origin of Obedience, where in that arc we learnt that the curse under the Yasohachi bridge was awoken after Yuji ate the first finger in June, and then this curse started hunting people down, killing them. Megumi concluded that these finger bearer curses are forming due to Sukuna's curse energy being awakened and now is resonating. So there could be even more curses out there responding to this awakening, especially since Yuji in the manga has now eaten more than 10 fingers, contributing to Sukuna's overall energy. So who really knows what else could have awakened or already awoken? But in the Takeuchi Monji, an ancient text that recorded the earliest Kami lineage and dynasty after Emperor Jinmu, it is stated within that the kanji for the Hida province is written as Takama no Hara, or in English, Plain of High Heaven. And considering possible deities and mythical beings such as Yamato no Orochi has been mentioned by Sukuna himself in the JJK series, you can wonder if his own kingdom of rule had some connection to the heavens, or maybe in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, a place that transcends ascends, where all souls and curse energy resides. This could possibly be how Sukuna became a curse from a Jujutsu sorcerer, reaching the heavens, or a sort of enlightenment. Sukuna understood the true concept behind the curses. In a way, it could even be a blessing from above. But being an Iron Fist ruler, he ended up becoming a tyrant, hence losing this heavenly blessing along the way. This is just a speculation on our part though, so I would take that with a grain of salt. Either way, it is also said within the same Monji text that Sukuna had his own Hida-based dynasty, the same size of the Yamato dynasty, and that was in the period when Japan Imperial Court ruled. Ultimately, this made the real-life Sukuna a king and ruler in his own right. Is this all a coincidence? Of course not. More than likely, the King of Curses title for Sukuna is given to him in the story of Jujutsu Kaisen because of his real-life counterpart and mythology of being an evil ruler of the Hida province with an army of his own, where he also treated his subjects well if they worshipped him properly, but was harsh to those who weren't his subjects and disrespected him. Yes, the dude is mean as hell. Think back to Sukuna interaction with Jogo and the twin sisters in chapter 112. The two sisters did not beg properly for only giving him one finger, which caused him to kill them instantly. And let's not forget, he cut the top of Jogo's head. He made this dude look more stupid than he already was, just for not getting on his knees properly. So by now, you guys should understand that Ryomen Sukuna of actual Japanese mythology has a lot of lore that plays into his counterpart character in Jujutsu Kaisen. Aside from knowing he was one of the most powerful beings in the golden age of Jujutsu, there is nothing in the story letting us know his origins. Looking into the Nihon Shoki and other historical texts gives us an early insight into the possibilities of what made Sukuna a curse and what Akutami will use to give him more depth as a character within the story. But beyond the Nihon Shoki, it's apparent that our Sukuna in JJK has also been given this title because of how powerful he is. His abilities Dismantle and Cleave are two powerful abilities that allows him to attack things and people very accurately. So let's quickly run through these broken abilities. Dismantle is a basic slashed attack that hits anything at a basic level, while Cleave is an attack that can adjust to the target's toughness and level of a cursed energy. But what really makes Sukuna a cut above the rest, get it? Cut, dismantle, cleave. Okay, those dad jokes ain't working here.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyways, what makes Sukuna probably the strongest curse is more than likely his big brain along with his domain expansion. Malevolent Shrine is one of a kind domain expansion, as Sukuna has the ability to create it without even making a barrier to enclose it in. So instead, Sukuna has an extremely wide radius of 200 meters. This is important because it implies that Sukuna's understanding of cursed energy is beyond what we have seen, even from a legend like Gojo. Akutami literally called his domain a work of art, a masterpiece, because he's able to realize it without need of a barrier to keep it enclosed, which is kind of fitting for a king, right? Now in chapter 118, Sukuna literally decimated 160 meters of Shibuya in seconds. He killed numerous humans without a second thought and without much effort at all, even leveling part of the city, leaving nothing but rubbles and empty spaces. And while fighting the most powerful Shikigami, General Mahoraga, in chapter 118, Sukuna was able to dodge its attack that came a split second after being sent through multiple buildings with no damage taken. His durability is insane. Sukuna even admits that if he had fought General Mahoraga back in chapter 8 with only 3 fingers, he would have most likely died. So this general dude is nothing to take lightly. Let's not forget that 3-fingered Sukuna was powerful enough to kill Megumi's early Shikigami with ease, and he also killed the special great curse that Megumi himself was too scared to fight. But on this topic, in chapter 117, we get to see the cover art for Sukuna in an older form holding 2 weapons in 2 of his arms. Clearly this means that Sukuna is quite proficient with cursed weapons, and at one point, more than likely he had them as his main items for fighting. And I mean, so far there doesn't seem to be anything Sukuna can't do, even outperforming his opponent's curse techniques. Like, let's look at Sukuna's fight with Jogo. Jogo Jogo is easily one of the most powerful special grade in the series. This was even shown by how quickly he was able to attack and seemingly body Maki, Nanami and now Obito, even though they were kind of damaged beforehand. But the thing is, Jogo gets so outclassed by Sukuna where it doesn't even look like a fair fight. Yes, in chapter 115, Sukuna is literally throwing Jogo around the city, smashing him through multiple buildings, destroying them just from the impact of kicking him. This fight started becoming some Dragon Ball Z type of shit. Sukuna even slices off Jogo's hands before he can even get a technique off and slams him into a building, knocking him down 8 stories. Jogo even explodes out a volcano fire throughout the entire building in an instant, and Sukuna still was able to dodge with no damage even though he was literally holding Jogo by his hood. Like damn, Jogo decides to go all out using his move Maximum Meteor. The first time we ever see this technique from him, and Sukuna not only dodges but waits until the very last moment right before the meteorite makes impact and then decides to move. Like what? Jogo for a second even says even Sukuna must have suffered damage from that. But Sukuna, who is unharmed, responds if it hits while sitting with his legs crossed. Again, this fight highlights the level Sukuna is at. This dude was just playing around, but guys, it doesn't even stop there, as Sukuna does the unthinkable. Sukuna uses Jogo's speciality and summons flames, specifically an arrow of fire. In other words, Sukuna took the essence of Jogo's technique and used it himself but put a little spin on it. All Sukuna had to do was say open with a black box in text bubble, summons fire, and Jogo shows obvious confusion like what's happening here? And then the next interaction we get gives us a little bit more clue about Sukuna. As Sukuna to responds to Jogo's confusion, he says, "Oh, that's right, I thought you would know about this, but I suppose a cursed spirit wouldn't." Now from a first glance, everyone must be thinking, what does that mean? What does Sukuna know about cursed energy that cursed spirits wouldn't know? And isn't he a cursed spirit? Well, that statement itself answers a lot of questions. Sukuna doesn't really see himself as a cursed spirit, rather him being a cursed spirit is something that's temporary. As we explained in our last Sukuna video on why the king of curses, Sukuna has so much interest in Megumi. We mentioned that Sukuna's ultimate goal is to once again resurrect as his perfect self, and that was a time before he was even a cursed spirit. We know this from Gojo's statement early in the series that Sukuna was one of the most powerful curse users in his time. Sukuna being the king of curses isn't just because he's a curse himself, it's more than likely because he understands cursed energy and the mechanics more than anyone else. Currently he's a cursed spirit due to his past as a Jujutsu sorcerer and splitting himself into 20 pieces, but because of this he also exhibits a power level beyond what curses have achieved after him. He has an understanding of cursed energy at his core beyond what we have seen from anyone else in the Jujutsu Kaisen series, and even in his cursed form, his speed and strength at max power is still unknown. But regardless on the specific of his physical capabilities, Sukuna has shown the ability to look at pretty much any cursed technique and break it down within seconds without any explanation. For example, he could tell that Megumi Shikagamis were made from shadows at a first glance. He was also able to understand Momiko's spawn ability as well and didn't even see it used in action. And let's not forget, Sukuna also understood how the Shikigami General Maharaga's adaptation and regeneration worked just after seeing it once, as well as having knowledge on the blade of the execution, a sword embedded with positive energy. It is clear that Sukuna is not only stronger than the other characters in power, but knowledge as well, being able to see the depths of others' ability just like Gojo can, but without the need of the 6 eyes. From Sukuna's knowledge alone, we know that he achieved an understanding of this unique world better than anyone, and for some reason Sukuna sees humans as worthless. Like even when he killed Jogo, he spoke to him as a kind ruler during his last moments. He told Jogo to not doubt his strength and just how foolish it was for him to compare himself to humans instead of embracing himself completely as a curse. From everything, Sukuna is aware of the nature of humans and curses, but the only compassionate or kind side we have seen from Sukuna has only been showcased with his interaction with curses. More than likely, Sukuna knows the secret behind the souls of humans and curses alike. But with that guys, I hope you lot enjoyed this video and you understood why Sukuna is called the king of curses. If you guys want more JJK content, you lot know what to do. Smash that like button and let me know in the comment section below what topic you want us to cover next. And with that, I'll catch you guys till next time.